G'day guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to do, I guess, a long overdue video for me. I've been showing off GS Pro a lot, but I haven't actually done a walkthrough just to show everybody the settings and kind of what you get with GS Pro. So I have had a lot of questions about this. Today, I'm going to step through it all. All right, so we're going to start off with the left top tile, which is local match. So let's jump into local match, and this is where you're going to download all your courses. So we'll click on local match. So the first thing you want to look at is the search bar. In this search bar, you can search for any course that you have downloaded. So for instance, if we want to look for the Riverwalk Skills Challenge, it's just on the screen there, but you can type in Riverwalk and it pops up with the Riverwalk Skills Challenge. You can also search by location. You can search by designer. So say if I wanted to play somewhere in Texas, I can TX for Texas, and then you've got all your Texas courses that you have downloaded. So a really good tool, really good function is the search bar. That's just the courses that I have downloaded. If I want to show all courses, you simply go over to where it says show all courses on the right hand side there, and you can select show all courses. That's going to have every single course, and you can actually sort these in the middle there where it says sort by. I currently have it on newest. You can change this to name, oldest, location, designer, availability. You can search by a lot of different things. To download a course, all you do is click on this download to play. So I'll download this one, and now that is downloading in the background. The other function you have is when a course gets updated, it's not going to update automatically anymore. You actually have this little tile here. So if you look at Lehman Orchids Jones, you can see this tile here with the little square with the arrow going down. That means there's a new version or new update to the course. So if I select that, now it's queued, but once Mira Vista Country Club has finished downloading, that will start downloading. The other function you have is this star button. So if we select this star button, you can see that I have 3 things starred or favorited. Now, I just keep it simple and I just have the practice facilities that I use. So those are the GS Pro practice facility and the night range. The GS Pro practice facility is where I do all my chipping videos. I'm sure if you've seen one of my in-depth videos, that's what that range is. And the night range is a really, really good driving range that I use a lot. And that's kind of like greens at different yardages. It's a really good range. Think of it kind of like the Awesome Golf target range. It's kind of like that. The other one I have here is from the Golf Boy. It's the Simple Mountain Range. And you can see there it says Patreon. So I have subscribed to the Golf Boys Patreon. I do plan on subscribing to a few more Patreons. This is basically a way of supporting the designer. You do pay a monthly fee and you can choose which fee you want. The Golf Boy actually does offer a yearly payment instead, which I will do actually. I've been meaning to do that. But basically what this means is you're going to get access to all of their courses, all of their ranges that they have on their Patreon. So course designers don't have to release courses to GS Pro all the time. They can keep them behind essentially a paywall. And if you support the designer, generally they're about $10 to $20 a month. You get access to all those courses. That's just an overview of the local match. Like I said, if you want to download courses, click on this show all courses. And then as you can see now, the updated version of Lehman Orchids Jones is updating. You do also have different views. I like this view where it's just a list view. You do have the old school tile views. And for everyone who played GS Pro back in the day, this was how they had the courses set up. And you can see the little picture of the course, and it's actually a really cool view. But for me personally, I just like the list view. I can get more on the screen and it's just easier. Right, what's this little icon here? So if you look on the far right hand side of the screen there, you can see this little download icon. What that is, I'll click on it now. I'll black these out because I actually have the Golf Boys link in here, but you can actually add a URL to this. And what this does is when you subscribe to a Patreon, they're going to give you a URL. When you put the URL into this little server URL, and then go add course server. That's how you're going to get access to those Patreon courses behind the paywall. All right, so that's the local match. That's how you download courses. Let's jump back out now and let's look at practice. So if we click on the practice tile, you do get your standard driving range, your grid driving range. You can move it forward and back so you can select all your yardages. It's actually a really good driving range. The other options you have are the on-course practice. Now let's click on that and you're going to get taken to the screen that you were just at. However, this is now in a practice mode. So when you hit your shots, you're just going to keep hitting the same shot. I will show this off. So let's jump into the pulpit and we'll go play course. I'll just select just the first hole just to show you this. We'll go play. And just while the course is loading, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It does help a lot with the algorithm. And also, if you're not on the Facebook group, jump on, join the Facebook group, and also follow me on Instagram. It does help out the whole social media piece. Okay, so we're on the first tee at the Pulpit Club. Now, what you don't get when you play on course is this little ball icon. So what I can do is I can select the top left, this ball icon just here, and I can click anywhere in the actual course or even in my mini map in the lower right hand corner. So let's say I want to hit some shots up by the green. I can simply select that ball, go over to my mini map and click next to the green. And now that's taken my ball and dropped it on the fairway. And this is really good because now instead of just kind of being, I guess, bored hitting shots on a driving range, you can actually just practice on course. Say if you wanted to hit drivers and you wanted to actually really have a fairway and be able to visualize a shot, you can now practice on course. And once you hit this shot, it's going to bring the ball back to this exact location and you're going to be able to hit the exact same shot over and over and over. The other thing you can do is you can jump up. We've only loaded one hole, but you can come up here into this little hole icon, select that, and you can go to any other hole on course. Because I only selected the first hole, I don't think it'll have the other holes in the background. No, it doesn't. But if you were to do this for 18, you could select any hole and go and hit drivers off hole 6, for instance, and then go and hit some wedge shots into hole 18. You do also have your clipboard. So if you look in the top left-hand corner there, you see that little clipboard. Say if you wanted to practice these 60-yard shots and then get an overview at the end of your session over your averages, you do get this option on the on-course practice as well as the driving ranges. Okay, cool. That is on-course practice. We'll jump out to the menu. All right, so the other option we have in the practice section is the skills test. And I know they're going to start adding to the skills test. They have planned a big update for the skills test section. So if we select that, at the moment, it just has full bag. In the future, there's going to be a lot of different options to this. And I really like this section because it gives you a way of measuring your practice or measuring your, I guess, progress and how you're going with your golf game. So at the moment, like I said, we just have full bag. So we'll select full bag and then we're going to come through. It's got your players there. I can select my name. You can do up to 4 players as well with this. I'm just going to do myself. The thing I like about this, and this is what Awesome Golf needs to add, is your target can be carry or total yardage. I always practice carry. I think carry distance is a key because then you can adjust based on the conditions of the course on the day. So I like to leave it on carry. You can have the distance as fixed or random, and then the camera, you can have it follow the golf ball or stay on the player. When you select OK, it's going to go through and you're going to be met with your skills test. This is a very in-depth skills test. I do have a video on this. I'll link that in the description. Really, really good skills test, and you get a lot of really good information out of this. All right, let's go abort test. And we'll go back to the main menu. One thing I wish they had, and they used to have this on the old version of GS Pro, I used to love at the bottom of the screen, they had a scrolling bar. And what it had was the leaderboard for each week of that skills test. I love that. I really, really wish they would bring back at the bottom. I'll try and find an old video that I have and I'll put it up there now. But they used to have like a little scrolling bar that used to go across and have the leader of the skills test each week. That's a really cool feature that I would love to see back because it does, you know, give people a bit more of a reason to do the skills test. And I love that feature. Bring it back. Okay, the next section you have is the tournament section. So let's jump in there now. If you're not a member of SGT, the Simulator Golf Tour, you will not have tournaments. It's going to direct you to the website. It is $60 US a year to be a member of SGT. In my opinion, I think the tournaments are worth it, especially if you have a launch monitor that has putting. If you don't have a launch monitor that has putting, you do have the Auto Putt Tour, which is fantastic. And to be honest, it is the biggest tour out of all of them. All right, so it is just loading my tournaments at this stage. Usually this doesn't take this long, so I'll just give it a little bit of a minute. Okay, so that doesn't happen very often, but I've just had GS Pro crash on me. So I'm going to open up GS Pro again. And this is a good, I guess, segue to show you what you actually get when you launch GS Pro. So when you launch it off your home screen, it'll go through and check the current version, make sure it's up to date, but then you will get met with another screen that I'll put up. So when you launch GS Pro, you get met with this screen. And what this is basically it gives you the option to choose your screen resolution. So this is how you select your resolution. I've got mine on 4K, graphics quality on Ultra. If I do hit the drop down menu, you probably won't see that on screen, but you have the option for GS Pro Lite, low, medium, high, very high, and ultra. And then you've got your selected monitor, which for me is going to be the display one, and it's going to go to the projector. You can also open it up in a windowed view, which I don't recommend because you can just hit F11 once you're in GS Pro and it'll go to windowed mode. So that's the screen that you get met with when you launch GS Pro, and that's how you choose your resolution and also your graphics quality. Okay, cool, we're back. So let's jump into tournaments, and it should pop up with all my tournaments now. There we go. And as you can see, I've got the Scramble 2-man. I am in a Scramble team, so I play with one of my mates online, and we play the Scramble each fortnight now. They're fortnightly tournaments. You've got the Pro Tour, the Auto Putt Tour, the Par 3, Tips Tour, and there are other tours that I can't play in. So you've got your PGA Tour and your Web Tour, and those have certain sets of rules where you can't hit it over 140 miles ball speed, and handicap rules associated with those tours. So if you don't hit it long, if you feel like, hey, the Pro Tour's too hard, you do have other options for tours you can play in. The cool thing about this section is you can actually download the courses straight from this menu. So I will do that. I'll just download these courses. So then they're downloading in the background. That's your tournament section. I really highly recommend getting SGT. It really adds value to GS Pro. Okay, let's go back. We'll jump onto online match now. So this is one of the coolest things about GS Pro is you have the ability to create online matches. So if we jump in, you can either join a room or you can create a room. So if you create a room, you can call it whatever you want. I'll just call it Joe, and I can go create. And then it's going to give me the option to choose whichever course I want to play at. So let's just go, let's play Aberdeen Golf Club. I have the ability as the creator to set the rules for the match. So you can choose any game type. We can go stroke play, scramble, match play, alternate shot, best ball, Stableford. And you've got a lot of options. Like it's really good. And then from there, you can actually add players. So let's jump over to the Players tab. So with this, you can give the room name out to the people that you want to play with online and just say, hey, the room name is Joe. They can type in the join and just go room name Joe and join, and they'll pop up in this room and we'll be able to play a match. So really cool stuff. This is one of the best things about GS Pro is the ability to play online with anybody and different types of games. Right, so that is the online match, a really good feature. The other thing I just want to touch on now is settings, and we'll jump into the settings menu. So in this section, you can add players. So say if you have a kid or, another person, your wife plays, your husband plays, your parents visit, whoever, you can actually add players. And the cool thing about this is I'll add a player now. I'll just call him Joe 2. So in this, you have the ability to create a whole different set of rules within GS Pro for them. So say if they struggle with distance, you can actually change the realism to custom, and then you can restrict the ball flight. Say if they're not a very good player, you can go ball flight full restricted. They've got a big slice, you can make that essentially straight. You can go game mode and you can go casual, and you can add shot boost. So say if you're playing with your kids, they can now play courses because they're going to have shot boost, they're going to have restricted ball flight, and that's all on their individual profile. So that's not tied to me. I can still play with full realistic global settings and have a fun game. And then the other person you can have playing with 2x shot boost and basically a dead straight ball flight every time. So that's a really cool feature, and it really gets people who aren't golfers able to play GS Pro alongside you on the same course. You can also bag map these players as well. So that's, again, a really cool thing is you can go in here and do basically everything you can on your main profile for someone else in your household. All right, let's jump over to the games tab. So this is where you're going to have global settings essentially. So again, we can make ball shape or curvature. We can make that restricted. We can add shot boost at a global level. You also have the ability to go metric or imperial. You can use the launch monitor carry, change altitudes globally. You've got the folder where your course is saved to on your computer. You can change the location of the mini map. You can make it a simulator or mouse for the control type. If you just want to check GS Pro out, you can actually play with a mouse. It's quite difficult, but you can do that. You can also choose player rotation. So you can have classic, where you're going to basically both hit your tee shots, both hit your fairway shots, and then both putt out. Or you can go play out hole. If you select play out hole, that's basically going to mean that I'll play the hole out by itself, and then the other person will play the hole out by themselves. And what this does is it just gives you a bit more of a rest. You can just basically sit down, watch the other person play the hole, and then you can go and play after them. It's really cool if you just want to sit down and just have a casual game with a couple of mates. I will leave it in classic for now. You can have things like the scorecard pop up after every hole. You can set it for how many seconds you want. All right, one thing I want to touch on now, just while I'm in this menu, is GS Pro Connect and reset GS Pro Connect. So if for whatever reason your connector actually crashes, then you can hit reset GS Pro Connect and it will reset that connector. Or if you want to use your Garmin R10 or your Rapsodo MLM2 Pro, or if you want to use a different launch monitor. So right now I'm connected to my GC2. If I wanted to use my Rapsodo, I've got to use a different connector. So if I just go clear device settings and exit, I'll hit that now. That's going to wipe the simple API. And now if I go reset GS Pro Connect, it's going to eventually pop up with the little options to where you select. And now you can choose Open API if I wanted to connect to my Rapsodo or my Garmin, or I am connected to my GC2, which uses the simple control. I can select simple control, and then eventually it will pop up and everything should connect and go green. So that is how to reset your GS Pro Connect, a really good feature. You do have the option as well to download the latest public beta or the latest stable version of GS Pro. If you want to see what's coming in the future, download the public beta. Just be aware, if you do this, you might not be able to play online with people who are using a different build of GS Pro. As long as you're all using the beta or you're all using the latest stable build, you'll be able to play together. Something to be aware of. And finally, you can change the visual settings. So you've got a whole lot of settings here. You can change, the trail size of the ball. You can go standard or thick. You can change the color. You can change the hole intro. If you don't want to have that transition where the camera basically goes to the new hole, you can go green to tee transition and deselect that. You can delay how much the camera is going to follow the ball. You can do a lot of things. Really cool. You can hide the UI on shot. There's a whole lot of settings you can do within GS Pro. All right, guys, so that is a basically run through of GS Pro, the software. There's a lot of things you can go into. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you do want to know more about GS Pro and the software, there is actually a manual that you can download on their website, or alternatively, there's a guy called Ralph who makes GS Pro tutorial videos. I will link his channel in the description. If you want to know anything about GS Pro, I'm sure he's made a video on it. Just type into the search function on YouTube and just type in Ralph and it will come up. All right, that's it for this one. I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.